Guys, Binder.com with two R's on the end does $500 per customer per month today. They have 6 customers, so $3,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Jacob has invested so far over $2 million of his own money in the business, mainly to pay for the team. There's 18 full-time. He's burning called $100,000 per month, but has a lot of conviction on the vision of what he's trying to build. He got that money, by the way, from his first exit, now plowing it into Binder, which is helping folks that serve, accountants, lawyers, CSPs in Malta, help them service their customers faster in a more automated fashion. They're launching now, looking to scale up their customer base, scale up the team, and obviously scale revenue. We'll see what happens next. Hey folks, my guest today is Jacob Apple. He loves building companies, had a nice 8-figure exit from Bolt in 2023, and is now building his life's work with a company called Binder, BINDERR.com, which helps you automate the workflow of CSPs. All right, Jacob, ready to take us to the top?
Let's do it, Nathan.
Real quick, what's a CSP? Is it customer service professional?
Corporate service provider.
Corporate service provider. Okay, I was a little bit off.
So that would usually be like an accountant, lawyer.
Yep. Now, before we jump into that world, automate workflows of accountants and lawyers, you mentioned the 8-figure exit from Bolt. Were you a founder at Bolt?
No, I owned the franchise in a few countries down in the Mediterranean and exited that last year.
What was the URL of that company? Bolt.com?
.eu.
Bolt.eu.
It's a large ride-hailing and food delivery company in Europe.
And so what do you mean you owned you weren't necessarily a co-founder, but you bought the trademark rights in certain countries? Or what do you mean by you were the franchise owner?
Yeah, we basically had the right to operate that company in a number of countries. So it was our own setup, it was our own company, and we just had we were piggybacking their technology.
Okay. And so when they exited, I think from January 11, 2022, Bolt was valued at something like $8.4 billion. So I guess if I ping the founders of Bolt, will they know you? Will they know, oh yeah, I know Jacob?
Yeah, they'll know who I am. Yes.
Okay. So how should my audience think about your slice of the $8.4 billion valuation from last year?
As fairly minimal, I would say. I was running 3 fairly small countries: Cyprus, Malta, and Tunisia. And it was Bolt themselves that acquired our business back. So me and my partners, we had the franchise right to operate in a number of countries. And I guess at some point when we started making too much money, they wanted to buy the operations, and there was like a predefined buyout clause in the contract we had with them.
And what is that buyout clause? It says something like, hey, we have the right to buy you out at 1x revenue or something like that?
Yeah, I can't disclose the exact figures because I think we're still under the confidentiality of the exit. But yeah, there was a predefined buyout clause in the contract we had with them.
Were you able to grow your 3 locations to above $1 million a year in revenue?
Yes.
Okay. And
significantly.
Okay. More than 10 million?
I'm not because we're still like we are still waiting to get paid for some of that exit. So I don't know how close I can get to the figures. Above $1 million is definitely not saying too much. I don't know how much closer I can get than that.
Okay. What % of the deal price was not cash up front? It sounds like you're on an earnout right now or something like that. Are you still waiting on 20% of the deal price, 50%?
No, but by far the majority was paid right away, and then there was like a percentage allocated to make sure that the whole operation that they were taking over was running smoothly.
Oh, what's going on there, YouTube? Good to see you guys. Now imagine this. You love watching these interviews with SaaS founders, but imagine if we took all of the valuation data out from over 2,807 interviews I've done manually. Saves you a lot of time. Well, we've done this. We've built it into the beautiful interface inside of FounderPath. Check this out. I'll show you how you can access this in a second, but you log in, you connect your Stripe account, you see your valuation real time. You can see what it changed over the past 88 days and even set goals for valuation this year. Now, the secret to valuation is there's many different ways to value a SaaS business. So the reason you're going to see 3 or 4 different valuations inside of your FounderPath dashboard, this is all free by the way, is because depending on who's doing the buying of your SaaS company, you're going to get a different valuation. A VC is going to pay a different valuation. Private equity firm is different. If you're going to do a minority sale, that's different. And if you sell the whole business, that's a different valuation. You can see all those when I hover over here. Right, so the teal is what a VC would pay, yellow is what private equity, and red is if you sold the whole thing outright. Now, what's cool about this is not built off random data. Again, you guys hear these interviews on YouTube. All these data are built from real-time valuation data points founders share with us on the show. So traction, 1.2 million, seed round, 3.7 raise, they sold 22% of their business. Go in here and filter by the event. Maybe you only want to see companies that have sold the whole business. Well, here are a bunch that have been acquired, the valuation and the multiple. Maybe you're going out right now and you're raising your seed round. Well, go in here and look at all this recent seed deals that went down, what they raised, what valuation they raised at, and what percent that they sold. There's never been a larger data set of SaaS valuations than what you can get now inside of FounderPath, and we're thrilled to bring it to you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube video here in a second, but if you want to check this tool out, if you want to jump in and sign up, you can check it out for free to get your valuation at this link, founderpath.com/products/valuations. Or if you go to founderpath.com and hover over products, click on get your valuation here and go ahead and sign up to give it a whirl. Again, all that valuation data live right inside the platform. I hope to see you there. All right, let's jump back into the interview.
All right, let's jump into Binder. So when did you write the first line of code for Binder?
3.5 years ago.
So were you running this while you were also doing the Bolt franchises?
Yes.
I see. Very interesting.
I knew at some point that our Bolt venture would come to an end, and I wanted, although that Bolt was a fantastic success for us, it was never really ours. It was we were just a partner, and I really wanted us to sort of control our own destiny and build our own thing. So as soon as I realized that at some point the Bolt journey would come to an end, we started our own thing.
Okay, so you started writing code for this in somewhere around 2020. Help me understand today, how is a lawyer or an accountant using your platform to grow their business?
So we've only just launched the platform to the market. We spent 2 years actually building an accounting app to then realize that maybe there was a better opportunity in specifically focusing on this niche when it comes to corporate service providers.
Mm-hmm. So are you pre-revenue today, or do you have paying customers?
We have paying customers today, but we are early in our revenue journey.
So when did you get your first paying customer?
In March
this year. Okay, that's great. How did you decide? A lot of founders, when they launch and get the first customer, they're not quite sure what pricing model to use. What did you price your software at?
We went with a model where we felt there was a good opportunity learning from big players like Stripe and other companies that really have become so successful because they became part of the journey of the customer that they're serving. So they would grow their business on a basis of a percentage of what was coming through. We felt fairly early on, these lawyers, these accountants who are incorporating companies and who are doing corporate filings, that we want to be really aligned with their revenue stream. So we charge mostly a transactional cost. So every time you go and incorporate a company through Binder or you appoint a new director, then we charge a fee for that transaction, while we also charge a small subscription per client that they manage.
What transactions is associated with the company when they, for example, add a new director? Are you trying to say you charge on a utility-based model where every time they take an action, you charge like per that action, or is there actual like you're charging a percent of GMV?
No, so imagine if you want to appoint a new director in Nathan's company, you would go to your service provider and you would say, I would like to appoint this director. They would charge you $300 to appoint a new director. That service provider would appoint that new director because it's automated through Binder, and we charge them a percentage of that. So we would charge them like $30 to appoint a new director through Binder because the whole flow is automated.
I guess so. On average, what's the customer paying you per month today?
Today, they're paying us about 500 euros a month.
Okay, so this is for like a lawyer or an accountant that maybe has 5 to 10 customers, something like that.
Our customers on average have 200 to 300 clients that they're serving.
Okay.
And the reason why we are only at 500 euros on average per customer is that a lot of the features and a lot of our penetration into the service provider is not deep enough. So we would expect our average customer to pay us 2,000 to 3,000 euros a month when we get deep enough with our penetration. But today, as we're still fairly early, it's about 500 euros.
And how many customers are paying today?
6.
And how are you finding them? Are you using a specific growth method?
No, so the sales part of it is fairly straightforward because in a country like Malta where we operate today, there's a list of all a corporate service provider in Malta. It's a regulated entity, so you just go online, you find all the corporate service providers in Malta, and you pretty much have their contact details.
So you're only selling to accountants and lawyers in Malta?
Yeah.
And is it mainly accountants and lawyers, or are there other professions you're working with?
No, our ideal customer is corporate service providers, but they often, like if you look at it globally, they are often comprised of accountants, lawyers, notaries. It really depends on what country you're looking at.
I see. Talk to me about your founding team. Did you found this one by yourself, or you have co-founders?
I started out by myself fairly early on, and then I got 2 co-founders later in the journey when we pivoted from an accounting app to being focused on corporate service providers.
Mm-hmm. So did you give them 50% each, so 25, and then you keep 50%, or how did you guys have the equity conversation?
No, since I financed most of the business myself from the beginning, and as I was also the only founder who worked on it from the beginning, it wasn't exactly like let's split it down the middle and we all share equally. I own a larger percentage than my co-founder.
So you own more than maybe 70% of the company?
No, less.
Okay, so between
about 50%.
50. Okay. Oh, but you own about 50% of the company total.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
So if you own 50%, then they own 25% each.
No, our team owns about 10%.
Okay.
My co-founders own about 15%, and then I have my old partners from the other business that we exited who also put some of their money into Binder, so they also own a piece.
Okay, so that's 50%, 60, 75. So they own, your old partners own maybe 20, 25%, something like that. They were your angel investors, basically.
Yeah.
I see. How much of your own money have you put in the company so far?
About 2 million.
Does that make you nervous? That's a lot of money.
No, I feel fairly confident in what we're doing, and I always knew that I wanted to pour whatever money we made from the first venture into the next one. So no.
Mm-hmm. Why is it so expensive to build this? I mean, $2 million. Have you already spent all the $2 million?
Keep in mind, we spent about 2 years to begin with developing an accounting app, to then pivot for a year and a half to develop this app for corporate service providers. And we're spending about 100,000 euros a month. It's a team of 18, mainly developers. So yeah, that runs up over time.
Mm-hmm. So you've already spent $2 million because of that burn rate you just articulated.
Yeah, slightly more, 2.5, 2.7.
I guess so. I mean, anyone listening right now might go, "Oh my gosh, like I could never afford to spend $2.7 million like on my startup because maybe they don't have an exit like you." So I guess how do you keep yourself sort of honest? You have enough play money where you can sort of throw money at problems, but how do you make a decision on, man, this isn't growing as fast as I thought it would. We're 3 years in. I got to shut this down and move on. How do you gauge success?
You have to feel very confident in the direction that you're taking the business. And I think that it's not like we are inventing a product where we don't really know if there's a market for it. It's kind of like if you can build a better accounting app than Xero or QuickBooks, there's a market for it. It's not really a question of whether there's a market and a demand for it. It's just a question, can you actually build it and then find a way to distribute this product? And we've spoken to these corporate service providers all around the world, and they are all desperate for the kind of tool that we have built. And I know as soon as this product is ready, which it is fairly soon. So for us, it's a very exciting time because we feel like we're right on the cusp of being able to deliver this product that we've worked on for so long. That makes it a bit easier knowing that you're getting such good feedback from the market, and you feel like you're close, and you also feel like there's a lot of support from my partners, co-founders, team, and so forth. Of course, makes it a lot easier.
Well, Jacob, we're rooting for you on that note, though. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. Number 1, your favorite book.
I recently read a book by I don't know if he wrote it himself, but he's the founder of Hyundai, the car company. His name is Chung Yung or something similar. And he's an absolute, he's definitely an inspiration.
Great. Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
No.
Number 3,
what's anything. I try and get as much inspiration as I can from any
Great.
founder, CEO.
Number 3 is, what's your favorite online tool for building Binder?
ClickUp.
Number 4, how many 100%. Hours of sleep do you get every night?
8 hours.
And what's your situation? Married, single, kids?
I have a fiance, 2 kids.
That's great. And how old are you?
And 5 months.
How old are you, Jacob?
I am 36.
Last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
I wish I'd put a bit more urgency to this whole journey we're on. There's so much there's so much good stuff to come from being consistent and having a long-term vision. So I wish I had started this journey a bit earlier, because it really it compounds these things that you're doing. So I wish I had started a bit earlier and known that some urgency would have been good as well. Probably a thing I should know. I wish I knew more better today as well.
Guys, Binder.com with 2 R's on the end does $500 per customer per month today. They have 6 customers, so $3,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Jacob has invested so far over $2 million of his own money in the business, mainly to pay for the team. There's 18 full-time. He's burning called $100,000 per month, but has a lot of conviction on the vision of what he's trying to build. He got that money, by the way, from his first exit, now plowing it into Binder, which is helping folks that serve accountants, lawyers, CSPs in Malta, help them service their customers faster in a more automated fashion. They're launching now, looking to scale up their customer base, scale up the team, and obviously scale revenue. We'll see what happens next. Jacob, thanks for taking us to the top.
Awesome. Thanks, Nathan. Take care.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.